तली गली मेरी आओ, इत मार्ग पैर धरी जय, सोती जय कामना की जय। जय जय जग कारण श्रेष्ठ उमारण, ni sa ga ma ga sa ni da ni sa sa ga re ra do re ma te da re ra ga ma da ni da ni sa sa ni sa ga ma ga sa ni sa da ni sa ga sa ni da ni sa ga re ra do re ma te da re ra ga re ra ga ma da ni sa ga sa sa ni sa sa ga re ra sa sa ni sa da ni sa ga ma ga sa ni da ni sa ga re ra do re ma te da re ra ga ma da ni da ni sa sa ni sa ga ma ga sa ni sa da ni sa ga sa ni da ni sa ga re ra do re ma te da re ra ga re ra do re ma te da re ra kille bik hare ra hasse sarna kille bik hare ra hasse sarna
ਖੁਸ਼ੀਆਂ ਦੇ ਜਗਾਰੇ ਫਤਿਹ ਪਵਨ ਹਾਲ ਜਾਵੇ ਨੀਲੇ ਵਿਸ਼ਾਲ ਗੁਲਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਵਾਵਨ ਪਾਵੇ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਜ਼ੁਲਮ ਦੇ ਸਿਕਾਰੀ ਕਲਮ ਦੇ ਲਗਾਰੀ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਚਿੜੀਆਂ ਬੱਚਾ ਵਾਲਿਆ ਸਤਿਗੁਰੂ ਬਿਰਧ ਬਣੇ ਦੀ ਲਾਜ ਬੋਲੇ ਸੋਨਿਹਾਲ ਸਤਿ ਸ੍ਰੀ ਅਕਾਲ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ
Order, order, as we say here. Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Sat Sri Akal. Mera naam Pat McFadden. And I am very pleased to be your host once again for the Parliamentary celebration of Vaisakhi. I want to do one thing before I do anything else, which is to thank the children for the wonderful kirtan to open our celebration tonight. Thank you so much. You've done your school and your families very proud, and we all enjoyed listening to your beautiful music. I am very grateful once again to Mr. Speaker for allowing us to host the Vaisakhi in Parliament celebration here in the wonderful setting of the Speaker's State Rooms. This is the very heart of our Parliament, and I'm so pleased that we're able to hold this event in probably the finest setting we could possibly find within the Palace of Westminster. If you've been before, welcome. If you haven't been before, double welcome probably. And if you're from Wolverhampton, triple welcome to tonight. Now this is a cross-party event. We're going to have speakers from different political parties, and I'm very grateful to my parliamentary neighbour and co-host, the Conservative MP for Walsall North, Eddie Hughes. Now, Eddie is a very nice man. Eddie is a kind and generous man. In fact, Eddie is such a kind and generous man that he's giving me part of his constituency under the new boundary changes. So I am getting used to the streets of Walsall. So thank you very much for that, Eddie, and we'll hear from Eddie a little bit later on. I'm also once again very grateful to the British Sikh Consultative Forum, who co-host and who sponsor this event and have done for many, many years. And over the years I've been hosting, we've got into quite a good and familiar groove of how to organise the event and put it all together. So thank you once again to the British Sikh Consultative Forum. I have to thank Amrit Man and the team at the Punjab restaurant in Covent Garden for providing us with wonderful food for tonight. I've also been asked to welcome some very special guests here tonight. We have former England cricketer Monty Panesar with us tonight, so welcome to Monty. We have Ranveer Singh, and we have Rajinder Singh Harzal, who's also known as the Skipping Singh, who's done fantastic work to encourage people to get fit, particularly in later life. So welcome to all of those. Now, as we know, Vaisakhi itself was on the 13th of April, but like many of these great religious occasions, Vaisakhi is less of a date and more of a season. And so we celebrate here a little bit after the date of Vaisakhi itself. Now, around the country, this is of course celebrated in many towns and cities. And I was really grateful to be invited to the Nagar Kirtan procession, which took place in my own constituency on Sunday. And once again, we were blessed with sunshine. I've been going for about 20 years, and I think I can only recall rain once. So someone is smiling on the Nagar Kirtan procession in Wolverhampton. And thousands of us walked from the Guru Nanak Sikh Gurdwara in Sedgley Street through the streets of Blakenhall, celebrating the birth of the Khalsa, the meaning of Vaisakhi, and seeing in action the values of Sikhi as people throughout the Nagar Kirtan gave out the free food, free drinks, cleared up, made sure everything was done in the best possible way. It really is a wonderful occasion and a great thing to be part of. Now, every year we have a theme, and this year's theme is values-based education. And that's something I couldn't support more. I believe passionately in the power of education. It is the greatest liberator and changer of circumstance that we have ever known. It is the vehicle by which people can change the circumstances of their birth and find a platform of opportunity. It is the means to change and to gain the kind of power and choices that sometimes other people have only through dint of wealth. So I could not support the theme of this year more. And the more that we can do for education and opening up minds and giving people opportunity, the better. So it's a great theme that we have this year. Now we're going to hear, as I said, from speakers from across the political parties and from voices within the community, all united in joining in this celebration of Vaisakhi in Parliament. And I'd like to introduce the first of those speakers tonight, and he is the person here who perhaps is more qualified than any other to tell us exactly what it is we're celebrating, why we're celebrating, and what the meaning of Vaisakhi is. So please welcome Bhai Mahinder Singh Ji from Birmingham to talk to us this evening.
Distinguished brothers and sisters, please accept the Sikh salutations. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. A very Happy Vaisakhi to you all. Vaisakhi, for the people of Punjab, is a time to celebrate the spring harvest and welcome a new agricultural year for Sikhs. It is also known as Khalsa Sajna Divas or Khalsa Formation Day. On the 30th of March 1699, the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, formed the noble collective of initiated disciples known as the Khalsa, blessing them as the nucleus of the Panth, the followers of the Guru's path. By exalting them, he brought to fruition the seeds sown and cultivated by all 10 Gurus over a span of 230 years since the birth of Guru Nanak Dev Ji in 1469. As such, the Khalsa's identity and the way of life reflects the fulfillment of Guruji's vision of an ideal human being committed to wisdom, virtue, and responsible conduct. Khalsa's purpose. In his humble and passionate praise of the Khalsa, Guru Gobind Singh Ji underlined it was Akal Purkh ki Fauj, a force, a benevolent army to serve not just Sikhs, but the Creator and all creation, empowered with divine virtues and values. To join the Khalsa is to enroll into the school of Sikhi, or the Sikh Dharma. Here the learning begins with the spiritual, moral, social, and cultural development of pupils and society. This also provides a basis to develop approaches to multi-religious education, reflecting the Sikh Guru's firm encouragement to establish dialogue between different faiths and cultures on the values that matter most to us as human beings. In super diverse city of Birmingham, we have a religious education syllabus based on 24 spiritual and moral dispositions. This encourages pupils to build connections between faiths and between religious and secular standpoints. Launched in 2007, it coincided with a UNICEF report that put the UK at the bottom of a child well-being league table. This wake-up call spurred the development of our Nishkam School's multi-academy trust, which now runs 6 schools and 3 nurseries with an outstanding Ofsted rating, all teaching and learning across all subjects, guided by a comprehensive framework of virtues known as values passports. Through such innovations, we aim to build a momentum amongst guiding institutions that treat value-centered education with the serious attention and foresight it deserves. With these few thoughts, allow me to close by thanking all the volunteers who have made this event a success, and particularly I would like to thank Pat McFadden, MP, for organizing this event year after year, and express my gratitude to also the young children who did so beautiful Kirtan. We hope to see you again next year. Happy Vaisakhi. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bhai Mahinder Singh Ji. You have explained in full not only the meaning of Vaisakhi, but the power of education. And tonight we are marking and celebrating both. Now, without further ado, I'm going to introduce you to our real host, because I am merely the occupier of this position for the next hour or so, but our real host, the person who's given us permission to host this event in this wonderful parliamentary setting, is none other than Mr. Speaker himself. So please welcome Mr. Speaker.
I just want to welcome everybody, my lords, ladies and gentlemen. Can I say, to see so many MPs here, how important it is. But as ever, I don't get much choice. You know you've got it booked already. He's already talking about next year, don't worry. So can I first of all say, particularly to our parliamentary Sikh, Hindu, Indian communities, can I welcome you to Speaker's House. This very special reception to mark Vaisakhi, also known as Spring Harvest Festival, one of the most important days in the Sikh and Hindu calendars for different reasons. For Sikhs, Vaisakhi is an occasion marking the birth of Karsla in 1699. For many of the Hindu community, this time of year marks the traditional Solar New Year. For each community celebrating, it marks time when families and friends come together to worship, to celebrate, to renew their bonds of community. So I'm so very proud that we can share in the festivities that you are all here today. Happy Vaisakhi. Let us enjoy this evening, but not let us forget what you have done for this country, the United Kingdom, the fact that you have been here as a community in our need. We can look back in history, and the history and the part that you've played, I can only say thank you. My uncle was in the Gurkhas. He always talks about the Sikh regiments, the role that you played, the loss that you suffered. You've always been there. When we needed this country to be rebuilt, you were there in our hour of need. You continue to ensure that we are one great community. So I want to say thank you for what you've done, not only in the past, but what you'll do in the future. And I say to Pat, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome you to Speaker's House. To me, this is what these state rooms are about. It's about our community. It is about bringing us together in support of each other. So can I say, enjoy the evening, and I send my heartfelt best wishes to you, your family and friends for a happy, safe and peaceful festival. Thank you everybody for attending. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I think it's a few years since we've had an address from the Speaker, so we're particularly honoured that you were able to join us tonight. Now, I'm going to proceed by introducing a very old friend of mine who is here representing the Shadow Cabinet tonight. Now, he came to Wolverhampton at the last election to campaign, and he said to the audience, he said, I remember Pat when he had a full head of red hair. And despite that, he's still my good friend before and after that. So please welcome the Shadow Foreign Secretary, the Right Honourable David Lammy MP. David.
You know, next month, exactly in a month's time, I will have been in this great institution for 24 years. And I was just thinking, it was about 5 years that I was into the journey that I was joined by Parmjit Danda as an MP. So I'm reflecting back. And the truth is, in those early years, I'm not sure we would have had a gathering such as this in this House. So thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you to Pat and thank you to Eddie Hughes for ensuring that all of our communities are represented. I can't tell you, it's so heartwarming to look out and see you in this room. And can I just say, I'm proud that the Labour Party has 2 Sikh members of Parliament. My good friend Preet Gill, where is she? I couldn't see it. There she is, wonderful Preet. And of course, Tan Dahisi, our wonderful, wonderful colleague and friend. This is an important moment to celebrate the enormous contribution British Sikhs make to our country, the values of service, particularly to the community, of fairness and justice at the core and the heart of Sikhism. And let me, on behalf of Labour, take this opportunity to thank all the Sikh organisations and charities that are constantly supporting communities in Britain, serving hot meals, volunteering, committed to public service. Thank you for your contribution. In my own constituency in Tottenham during the pandemic, in those hard, tough first months, where there was a need for support of the elderly and poorer communities who had so little. I'll never forget going into a church building, expecting to be confronted by a gaggle of enthusiastic evangelical Christians, and instead I was confronted by a gaggle of evangelical Sikhs from Slack, and they had travelled up to Tottenham to serve my community, and I was just reminded of the heart and generosity that is at the heart of Sikhism in our country. Today, of course, is also St. George's Day, and that's a chance to celebrate the values and traditions of England, which Sikhs have made their own and contributed to. Modern Britain is a story of progress, a story of inclusion, of strength and unity of our diverse communities. Never let anybody attempt to divide us. And as you know, as Shadow Foreign Secretary, I'm focused on international issues. And this has been a challenging year for Sikh communities, both in our country and outside, with real concerns around safety and around security. Thank you so much to colleagues for pressing these issues and making it clear the concerns that are felt. And I just want to say it's essential that the United Kingdom stands up for the rights of Sikhs, works to ensure that Sikh communities feel safe and secure and respected, and can always make their feelings known in terms of our democracy and democracies as we see them overseas. Thank you for that, and let me just make you absolutely clear, it's something that I hope to take, if we have the privilege of serve, into the Foreign Office. The UK also stands united against persecution in any form, and will support the freedom of religion of belief as an element of our foreign policy. So I'm honoured to be here. Thank you so much for inviting me. Enjoy the rest of the evening, and what a tribute to see those beautiful children performing just earlier. Thank you.
Thank you, David, and you are right. Wherever there is someone in need, the Sikhs will be there. The Sikhs will be there to help. I've seen it so many times in so many places in this country and around the world. Let me move on to introduce my co-host. As I said, this is a cross-party event. He's not just my co-host, he's my parliamentary neighbour, and so please give a very warm welcome to Eddie Hughes MP.
Waheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Waheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Can I just say, when I first got elected in 2019, I had never been into a Gurdwara. And since, I hardly look forward to anything more. I have found the community to be so incredibly welcoming. I'm a Catholic myself, and so I feel I'm naturally drawn to other people of faith, but it would be difficult not to be drawn to the incredible warmth that comes from the Sikh community, the great works that you do in helping other people, and I think you exemplified that during the pandemic, where I saw hundreds of people being fed from the Gurdwara in Willenhall. So clearly, I'm an enthusiastic convert and a keen follower, but when I came to Parliament, that was only accentuated when I met Preet Gill. Now, anybody who knows Preet will know she is an incredibly charming and compelling woman. And so she persuaded me quite easily, I think, to join the APBG for British Sikhs. And although I think I've not been particularly effective in helping her to champion some of the causes that she has worked on through that APBG, I'm certainly enthusiastic in the contribution that I make. And so for me, it has been an absolute privilege to join Pat this evening in co-sponsoring this event, so I have the opportunity to address you very briefly and convey to you my thanks for the amazing work that you do right across the country all the time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Eddie. So the next speaker that I would like to introduce is the General Secretary of the British Sikh Consultative Forum, who, as I said, have been the real hosts and sponsors of this event for many, many years, including from way back before when I started hosting it about 10 years ago. So please welcome the General Secretary, Jasdev Rai.
Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Mr. Speaker, Right Honourable Secretary of State Michael Gove, and Mr. David Lammy, MPs, guests, and the many volunteers. Thank you for coming here. We are very honoured by your presence. It gives us a great deal of pleasure that so many people come here every year. This function has now become a permanent feature of Parliament. Every year we have it, and thanks to Mr. Speaker, we get the opportunity to have it in these splendid halls, in rooms. This is the 17th Vaisakhi at Westminster, and every year it's become more and more of a success, more and more people come. This time we had over 90 organizations here at the moment. So quite a representation of the Sikh community from Manchester, Huddersfield to the south. So we have a representation from all over the country. With the number of people now wanting to come here, maybe we'll ask Mr. Speaker to build an extension here so, to accommodate so many people. Last year, we put a lot of emphasis on interfaith. We set up our interfaith group. A lot of young people have joined, and it gives me great pleasure that there's so many youth and young people interested in interfaith. Interfaith is, in a way, I think, the cement of bringing together different faith communities and promoting peace. And we have a chairperson who's been quite prominent in the interfaith thing. This year our theme, we have a theme every year. This year our theme, as you have rightly said, is value-based education. We have a number of Sikh schools around the country, and I think I would not be wrong to say they've been an asset to this country, because they're all value-based schools, all value-based education in those schools, and we hope that future generations will continue with that. I won't take much more of your time. I want to thank everybody, but there are other people who are coming. Thank you very much again for coming.
Thank you, Jasdev. Let me move on to one of Parliament's history makers, because I believe our next speaker was the first turban-wearing Sikh to be elected to Parliament. Now, we've got a couple of history makers here tonight, so I'll come on to others a little bit later on. But for the moment, please give a big, warm welcome to the MP for Slough, Tamanjeet Singh Desi.
Good evening, everybody, and Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. Pargateo mard agamada, Varyam akela, Vaho Vaho Gobind Singh, Ape Gurchela. That is the beauty of the Khalsa, which was instituted by the 10th Sikh Guru, Guru Gobind Singh Ji, in 1699. I think, as was eloquently explained, this Khalsa was open to everybody, regardless of gender, regardless of background, of social status, regardless of one's standing in life. It encompassed inclusivity. And I think that is also why the Guru bestowed his immense benevolence on that. And he, as he eloquently explained, Khalsa mero roop hai khas, Khalse mein ho karo nivas. That the Khalsa is my special form, and I reside within the Khalsa. That is why, for Sikhs, Vaisakhi is an extremely important, a pivotal landmark moment within the faith. And I think today, as we've heard from speaker after speaker about what the immense contribution of British Sikhs has been. Well, look, there's always room for improvement, but if we look at the last census, when it comes to home ownership, the Sikh community is the highest proportionately of any community. And I think that is a commendable attribute to have. And in terms of the theme around education, I know that both David Lammy and Michael Gove mentioned that earlier regarding education. Well, the Sikh community, the British Sikh community, has the second highest level of graduates of any community proportionally. Now, I think that is also a testament to that will and that drive within the Sikh community to make sure that we have education. Ki vidya vichari ta par upakari. That it's not just important, as Bhai Sahab mentioned, to have that education, but it's how we use that education to share with others. And long may that concept of seva and of being all-encompassing, Sarbat Dapala, that working for the betterment of all, regardless of background or gender or color or creed, that is what as Sikhs we must aspire to. And look, within this place, we've got many, many parliamentarians here. There's few that I've seen, whether it is my good friend Seema Malhotra or Stephen Timms, we've got Alison Thewlis from the SNP. We obviously got our hosts, who I will come on to in a second. But whether it has been Verinder Sharma, others, Preet and myself, we've been working with these individuals to make sure that we are tackling issues of importance to the Sikh community, tackling issues of importance to the Punjabi community, whether that has been around farmers' protests, whether that has been to try to establish an inquiry to establish what happened in 1984, and therefore what we have also tried to do is to try to tackle anti-Sikh hate crime, the bullying against Sikh children who are bullied because of their distinct appearance. Whether it has been also, I've been working with like-minded individuals. We set forward an early day motion which Pat and others supported in 2018 to set up a National Sikh War Memorial to commemorate the immense contribution of Sikhs from across the world who came to Britain's aid, who fought for freedom. Tens of thousands died, more than 100,000 were injured, and that is why, thanks to the National Sikh War Memorial Trust, I know that we've got one of our key advisors, Tejpal Singh Ralmil here, we will very, very soon have a National Sikh War Memorial right in the heart of central London. So those just some of the things that we've been working towards. And I want to, at the end also, to thank Pat and Eddie for hosting today's event. Pat, by the way, is a dear friend who I've not known as long as he has known the likes of Michael and others, but believe me, for well over a decade, way before I came here. And I know that the high esteem in which Pat is held, because it's not just the way he pronounces Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. He knows Sikh issues inside out. When he liaises with people, not just in Westminster, not just in Wolverhampton, when he is conversing with all of yourselves, he has been a rock of support to us, and long may that continue. But also, lastly, I want to commend the British Sikh Consultative Forum, Dr. Jasdev Singh Rai, Dr. Sadhu Singh Ji, Bhai Sahab Ji, and all of the volunteers who have made today's event once again such a success, thanks to the kindness of Mr. Speaker for allowing us to host the event here. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you very much, Tan. And let me introduce another multi-year supporter of this event, someone who's come and addressed us every year without fail, and has always been pleased to support this. She comes from my hometown, and it's great that she's with us again tonight. So please welcome, representing the Scottish National Party, the MP for Glasgow Central, Alison Thewlis MP. Alison, thank you.
Thank you so much, Pat. It seems we've got lots of Scots this evening. It's a bit of a wee theme. Wahiguru Jiki Khalsa, Wahiguru Jiki Fati. It is such an honour and a pleasure to be with you again tonight. And I was thinking of the things that mark the parliamentary calendar, and this is certainly up there as one of the very special events that we celebrate in the House of Commons every year. And it feels very much the start of spring when we come here together and when we celebrate together. And we had just recently in Glasgow, of course, the wonderful Nagar Curtain procession through the city, through round about our 4 Gurdwaras in Glasgow. And each year, each of the Gurdwaras takes a turn in being the host for the start of the procession, and the procession moves round each of the Gurdwaras in turn, which is quite some shift, I should say, for the people walking round, particularly because it was quite cold and windy this year as well. But everybody was out in their finest and showing what a wonderful community the Sikh community in Glasgow is. And it was great to see so many people looking out their windows and stopping to cheer people on and enjoying the procession marching through. It was very special indeed. And in thinking about coming here tonight as well, I had found a small quote from Guru Granth Sahib, and it says, "After spending time with saints, I lost the sense of us and them. No one automatically is my enemy, nor do I regard others as strangers. I am friendly towards everyone." And I think that very movingly sums up how I feel about the Sikh community in Glasgow, because you only need go past the door of the Gurdwara and somebody's bringing you in and giving you food and sharing their stories and sharing the experience. And whenever there is any issue or anybody in trouble, the Sikh community will always step in to help. And last year, when there were students, not just in Glasgow, but in further afield in Stirling and in Edinburgh, struggling to get student accommodation, it was the floor of the Gurdwara in Glasgow that they slept on. They were not prepared to let anybody go without a roof over their head. When there was a fire on the south side, it was the Gurdwara that was making sure that the firefighters and the police and those displaced by the fire that were looked after. And I thank very much the Sikh community in Glasgow for that generosity. And I met earlier with Khalsa Aid, who were telling me about their work around the world in so many different communities. Wherever the need is there, they step in and they act and they do what they can to help support. So I thank them very much as well. The Glasgow Colourful Heritage Project has been marking some of the different communities that make up our country and our city, and it may interest you to know that the first documented Sikh in Scotland was Maharaja Duleep Singh in Perthshire, the last Maharaja of the Sikh Empire, who came to Perthshire in 1855. So it has a very long history of the Sikh community in Scotland from that day. And in fact, if you wished to visit, his infant son was buried in Kenmore Kirk near Aberfeldy in Scotland, and has been marked by the community very much there as well. So there's that strong heritage through to the 1920s and later, and a community now 20,000 strong in the city of Glasgow, and we are very proud of that in the city. We have the slogan, "People make Glasgow," and it's certainly true of the Sikh community. And I thank them for the contribution that you have made. And from the first Gurdwara in 1952 to the 8th that we have across Scotland today, I can see the theme today reflected about values-based education, reflected in the work of each of those Gurdwaras, not just educating your own community in Punjabi and in the Sikh faith, but educating those in the community round about you, letting people know what your values are and spreading those values and instilling them within the community more widely. And I think the values of truth, compassion, contentment, humility and love are values that we should all share and promote and hold very dearly. But I thank you so much for coming here this evening and for everything you do to make Scotland and make Glasgow such a wonderful, vibrant community. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Thank you, Alison. This is when I enter dangerous diplomatic waters by reading out the names of the MPs who have been with us tonight, because there's always a danger that you'll miss somebody out because you haven't seen them. And so if I do that, and I don't read your name out now, please come and see Eve at the front and I'll do it next time. But I'm not going to read out the names of the speakers that you've had because you've already seen them. But apart from them, we have had Catherine McKinnell, Stephen Timms, Jane Stevenson, Sam Tarry, Virendra Sharma, Barry Shearman, Afzal Khan, John Speller, Matt Rodda, Caroline Noakes, Seema Malhotra, George Galloway, Joanna Cherry, Catherine West. If I've missed anybody, as I say, please come in and tell Eve at the front. There's somebody waving. I think it's Annalise waving at me. Annalise Dodds is waving at me there at the back too. Now, I mentioned history makers, and I said we'd hear from more than one. So I want to introduce another history maker, also not quite an absolute parliamentary neighbour, but not very far, just down the road. The first woman Sikh MP ever to be elected to Parliament, and also the chair of the APPG for UK Sikhs. Please welcome the MP for Birmingham Edgbaston, Preet Gill.
Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh, and it's an absolute pleasure to be here. I want to thank Eddie and Pat for their brilliant organisation today, but also for Tan and I to have had such the amount of support from brilliant parliamentarians like Pat, who's been representing the Sikh community for a very long time. I also want to just welcome to the House a very special guest. We have Baba Ajit Singh Nirmal Kuttiyan Jola here in our presence as well today. Vaisakhi is a time for us to reflect on the values on which the Khalsa Panth was founded. The defence of freedom, equality and the betterment of all. And this year, as every year, we reaffirm our commitment to the values of Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji and the Panch Pyare who devoted themselves to in 1699. These internal values remain as important now as they have ever been. And it's why I'm very pleased that this year, the theme for this event is centred on values-based education. I've spoken many times about what an inspiration my dad, the late Diljit Singh Shergill, was when I was growing up. He came to Birmingham from India in the 1950s, where he later became the president of the Guru Nanak Gurdwara in Smethwick. Education was a huge thing for my father. In Punjab, as a boy, he would spend the day at school, and then once he got home, would be expected to go out to work in the fields. It was really hard, thankless work, except for this time of year when the harvest came in. And he used to tell us later in his life that he really regretted not completing his education. All he really wanted to do was to better himself when he finished school, which he wasn't allowed to go on to university like others because, of course, then he migrated here to the United Kingdom. Like a lot of second generation children of immigrant families, I really worked hard at school. While others were on break, I was at chess club. I know, I was that sort of student, quite shocking, I think. I remember at home, if we didn't already have a book in hand, my dad would say, here, read this, and plonk a dictionary down in front of us, get us to flip it open on a random page, and pick a word and write out what it actually meant. But it wasn't just about academic achievement. What I was really cultivating were the values that I hold true to even now. The values we learn as children really matter. They are the compass that our teachers give us to help navigate the world. I've always been a big proponent of values-based education, which is why I want to thank Vaisakhi Bhai Mahendra Singh Ji. My daughters attended Nishgam Primary School in Birmingham, and the values that they learnt there of forgiveness, of compassion and optimism have stayed with them even years later after they left. And it's quite strange. Sometimes I'll catch one of them saying to the other, you're not showing those values, that's really wrong, that's not about forgiveness. And it's the fruit of their faith and of their education. That is a wonderful thing to see. So through considering a range of values, we learn to respect differences between people. We play an active role as citizens, and we develop confidence and the character to make the most of our talents. When life for young people is getting harder, and when the world is more dangerous and divided than ever, we need that bedrock of values to help us find our way. Even myself, when I face challenge, I often seek courage and comfort in prayer. So this year, as we celebrate Vaisakhi, I'm thankful for the strength I find in my faith and the purpose I draw from Sikhi values passed down the centuries. Equality, in recognition of our shared humanity, all of us equal in the eyes of God. Courage, as exemplified by Sri Guru Gobind Singh Ji and the Khalsa, standing true to their beliefs in the face of adversity. And justice, working towards a world where all are treated with fairness and compassion. So let me thank you. It's wonderful to see actually many of my relatives here as well from lots of parts of the country, Huddersfield. It's wonderful to see you all. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you very much for those lovely words, Preet. Other MPs who've joined us are Anam Kazir and Dean Russell. And as I say, if I've missed any more, come and grab me or Eve and tell us. Let me move on to our next speaker, who is a constituent. And he has been coming here and speaking here for many years. Please welcome the director of the British Sikh Consultative Forum, Dr. Sadhu Singh.
Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, एक हास्य का जन्मदिन मना रहे हैं इतना ढिल्ली फतेह नहीं let's warm the atmosphere बोले सोनिहा हम पता लगा ना खालसा जन्मदिन मना रहे हैं. So I would like to welcome on behalf of British Sikh Consultative Forum. This is the 17th celebration at Westminster. It's an honor to have so many members of Parliament, ministers and guests. May I also thank Speaker Right Honourable Lindsay Hall for extending us to use his house over and over again. Today, we have representatives, I just have said, over 90 organisations, spreading from Manchester, Huddersfield, North, London obviously. We also have members of Parliament from many constituency, from Scotland to south of England and Wales. We have MPs from all parties. We are grateful to all of them who for joining us to celebrate Vaisakhi at Westminster. And we got some guests from other communities who I would also like to welcome them. This function is made successful by many volunteers, donors, and the staff at Speaker's House, which assist us in many ways to make this function smoothly. We try to, as Vaisakhi said, we always have a theme for every year for this function. And the theme this year is promoting value-added education. I am also the trustee of the first Sikh school in Britain, the Guru Nanak Sikh Academy in Hayes, at the moment, which caters for 2,500 students from nursery to secondary. We have put stress on values from the beginning. We find that Sikh values resonate with British values. By bringing together, we still have a strong understanding of morals, social responsibility, and citizenship in the children that go through the school. Our message today from the Vaisakhi function is that government should encourage all schools to ensure value-based education that encourages children to understand social responsibilities towards society and country, and respect for their parents, relatives, friends, and wider society, as well as their own faith and beliefs. We're here in a complex period. We are going through a complex period. We see news of knife crime, gang violence, and petty crimes frequently occurring in our streets. Many, if not most, of these involve children. The majority of children are well behaved, have made sense of morals and respect towards others. However, we should strive through the structured and value-based education to ensure that all children come out of their schools as responsible citizens. Gurdwaras and religious places also have a great deal of responsibility to promote value among children. Many Gurdwaras up and down the country have classes for children, Kirtan, as you heard this beginning of the program from Southall Gurdwara, the children, the Kirtan from that Gurdwara. Some runs activities for children at weekends. These all help children to develop social responsibilities as well. The British Sikh Consultative Forum will help Gurdwaras to coordinate setting up sound and successful structures to encourage values-based programs to help future generations become good citizens. Last year, the British Sikh Consultative Forum engaged in a number of activities and meetings. However, a report commissioned by the government on faith literacy has caused some issues. I don't know whether you've read that report. Majority of you probably have. Our feelings is that the report failed to focus on better understanding of faiths and the positive values they can bring to society and to the country. The report unnecessarily went into tangents, particularly on law and order issues, which have no relevance to understanding faith and the values. The law and order matters concern society in general. They are not specific to the values and practices of any faith. We sincerely hope that the government will look to review the report and work with faith communities to bring a more positive and constructive one that help government departments as well as faith communities to work with each other positively. We now also have a well-established interfaith group which is engaged in several interfaith activities. We are hoping that it will get bigger and bring better understanding of Sikh community. May I thank everyone for joining us at the Vaisakhi at Westminster. We are honored that the Secretary of State at the Levelling Up Housing and Communities Department also joined us. We are also grateful to Shadow Foreign Society Secretary for joining us. We thank representatives of all political parties gracing us with their presence. And above all, I would like to thank my own MP, Pat, who's been organizing this event for a long time, and hopefully he will just carry on doing it. It's 17th, and it's only 3 years to go, Pat, for the 20th. So, Pat, my own friend, my own MP, I'm very grateful to him. He's always there whenever we need him. So, on behalf of the Sikh community, we'd like to thank him. We hope you will help yourself to the samosas and chap from Punjab restaurant, and you enjoy yourself. Thank you very much. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you very much, Dr. Singh. And without further ado, I want to introduce the Joint General Secretary of Sri Guru Singh Sabha Southall, Jagdish Kaur. Jagdish.
Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. Respected guests, MPs, Lords, and my beloved Sangat. On this occasion of Vaisakhi from Sri Guru Singh Sabha Southall, I extend my warmest greetings and heartfelt wishes to each and every one of you. Vaisakhi holds profound significance for Sikhs worldwide, marking the establishment of the Guru Khalsa Panth and embodying the timeless values imparted by our Guru Sahib, the 10 Masters, over 239 years. They are compassion, dharam, righteousness, himmat, strength, mokum, steadfastness, leading to Sahib, oneness with divinity. In this pivotal year for Sikhs, characterized by reflection and progress, we reaffirm our dedication to upholding the principles of justice, equality, and freedom, values deeply embedded in Sikh philosophy. We stand in solidarity with those who have faced injustices and commend the strides made towards achieving accountability and reconciliation. Throughout history, Sikhs have actively contributed to the betterment of society, regardless of where we reside in the world. we cherish our long-standing relationship with the British establishment since the early 1800s and remain committed to enhancing the societies we inhabit, wherever they may be. Locally, we celebrate the milestones of progress within our London community, including the achievements of Khalsa Primary School, a beacon of Sikh values and British culture, of which we have several of the students here today and who earlier beautifully sang Gurbani Kirtan. Additionally, I'm proud to highlight the pivotal role of the Sada as a leading religious organization. As one of the first to provide special educational needs and disability classes, and which is supported by the Sikh Human Rights Group, and was recently also recognized at the United Nations. Moreover, amidst the challenges posed by the cost of living crisis and the closure of libraries, Asaba has proudly established the world's first Sikh children's library, the Professor Gurmukh Singh Library. As we commemorate Vaisakhi and reflect on the journey of the Sikh community, let us renew our commitment to the timeless principles of compassion, righteousness, and resilience. Let us honor the sacrifices of those before us and the struggles of those who have championed justice, while also looking ahead to a future guided by critical thought, pluralism, and progress. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to the British Sikh Consultative Forum for organising this esteemed gathering, to the Speaker for graciously hosting us, and to the MPs for their presence and support. Together, let us continue to uphold the spirit of Vaisakhi and the noble principles it embodies. Thank you. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you very much, Jagdish. And I now want to introduce our final speaker for this evening, the Interfaith Coordinator of the British Sikh Consultative Forum. Please welcome Gurpal Kaur Garawal. Gurpal.
Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh. It's an incredible honour to be here with you all today to celebrate Vaisakhi. And as it's been mentioned a few times, this is the 17th Vaisakhi event organised here in Parliament by the British Sikh Consultative Forum. My name's Gurpal Kaur, and I'm part of the BSCF's Interfaith Group. We meet up with other interfaith groups to bring diverse communities together, but we also help to coordinate all the volunteers here tonight, so I hope they met your expectations. Firstly, I just wanted to say how generous it is for the Speaker of the House, Right Honourable Sir Lindsay Hoyle, to host us here annually for this Vaisakhi celebrations in the State Rooms. I'm sure you agree this is a magnificent venue for such an auspicious event. So thank you. On behalf of the BSCF, we'd like to thank Right Honourable Pat McFadden, whose sponsorship makes this event possible even every single year, and also to Eddie Hughes, who this year is co-sponsoring the event. It's absolutely overwhelming to see so many MPs here today. It means so much to us that you've taken time out of your busy schedules to come here to support the Sikh community, to come here and celebrate Vaisakhi with us. And for us Sikhs, it shows the reverence that the Sikh community has in Britain. So thank you. And thank you because I know that you do so much for your constituents, and hopefully the event that we've had today and the theme of value-based education is something that you can take back to your constituencies and your communities. This event wouldn't be the same if it wasn't for the lovely samosa and the masala chai, courtesy of Punjab Restaurant. So thank you to Amrit Singh Maan for all your help. And you've been helping for many, many years, continuously supporting Vaisakhi in Westminster. You're always keeping us well-fed and well-watered. Thank you. And also the machai you'll receive on your way out, that's courtesy of Sri Guru Singh Sabha Southall, who have generously been supporting for many years as well. At this point, I'd like to also thank Daljit Singh Saggu and Gurvinder Pal Singh Kohli from Gurdwara Guru Amar Das, Clifton Road, for all their support and their sponsorship over the years. Thank you. As you can imagine, events like these take a very long time to plan and organise. And I'd like to say thank you to Gurinder White, wherever she is, for all the hard work that she puts into these to make sure that they run seamlessly. She's been working for the BSCF for the last 4 years. In conjunction with Eve Nevaeus, who also works from Pat McFadden's office, who coordinates the speakers and also all the MPs. Everybody is here tonight because of these two. They're great and they work brilliantly as a team. Thank you so much. I'd like to take this opportunity also to thank all our volunteers here today, some veterans and some novices. Really appreciate all your work, and the BSCF thanks you for being their champions. We've had representation, I think, from about 95 Gurdwaras, Sikh organisations and affiliations here attending today. I believe this is one of the biggest gatherings such as this in Parliament. On behalf of the British Sikh Consultative Forum, I thank you all for coming together like this. It's inspiring to see the unity across all our Sikh community. This event would be nothing without all its guests, and your presence is what brings the MPs here. So thank you so much for attending. I apologise if I've missed anybody out. I've been told to rush this along, so if I have, I'm so sorry. Maaf karo. Let me finish by wishing you all a happy Vaisakhi. I hope you had a great event. I hope to see you next year. And if you haven't had a samosa, quickly rush because there's not much time. Grab another one. That's it. Vaiguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaiguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Thank you, Gurpal. In closing from me, I don't want to repeat all the thanks that I said earlier. I do thank everybody who's made it possible, but I just want to mention 3 people who did an awful lot of work behind the scenes to make this event happen. The first is Bubbles White, who has been helping us for so many years from the British Sikh Consultative Forum, and with all the issues to do with food and PA and filming and everything, and who's to be invited, Bubbles is just a source of knowledge, constant cheer and comfort. So thank you very much to Bubbles. The second is Lewis from my office. And Lewis has not been working for me for very long. And when he started, I said, there's one thing you're going to have to learn how to do when you work in my office, which is to help organise the Parliamentary Vaisakhi events. This is the first time he's done this. He's been really involved in it. So thank you very much to Lewis for all the work that he's done. And the final person I want to thank is Eve from my office. Eve has been helping with this event for 2 or 3 years now. She's done so much work. If you've had a smooth time here getting in, on the invites, everything about it, an awful lot of that is to do with Eve. And she has taken time out from celebrating the Jewish festival of Passover to make sure that this event went well for everybody. So please give Eve a round of applause. And in closing from me, I just want to thank you all. I hope you've enjoyed this evening. I hope you've still got a chance to mingle, take some pictures. If there's any samosas left, to have one, and to mark once again what I think has been a successful, fitting and enjoyable Vaisakhi in Parliament. Thank you very much. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh.
Yeah, is this your first Vaisakhi, or have you been to a couple of the events here?
No, I first became an MP in 2019, and although I'd not visited a Gurdwara before that, I've become an enthusiastic friend of the Sikh community, so I'm a regular Vaisakhiya, if that word exists.
If it doesn't, it should now. So our theme this year is looking at good value education. So I guess for you, what does good value education look like, or good values that need to be kind of harnessed at education?
Well, I think one of the things that we should really admire about the Sikh community is just how much they do value a good education. And I think many others of us should learn from that. It's incredible to see that it is engendered in people from a young age within the Sikh community, just how important a good education is. And I say I'm an enthusiastic supporter of that. So I love the idea that that's the theme for this year.
Wonderful. Well, thanks very much, Eddie.
Thank you very much.
Hanji, Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. My name's Amrit and I'm from Covent Garden, London, United Kingdom.
Amazing. And how did you celebrate Vaisakhi this year?
Well, a lot of seva. It's a wonderful occasion, and to see so many groups, networks, the community come together, celebrating Vaisakhi. So for me, it was kind of like I was in Trafalgar Square doing a cooking demo and talking about classic dishes from the village and classic dishes that Gurdwaras make for Vaisakhi.
Well, yeah, thank you, Pat. I know you've been to many of these. So instead of asking how are you celebrating Vaisakhi, but our theme this year is looking at good value-based education.
Yes.
So do you want to share your thoughts on that?
Well, look, in my work with the Sikh community over 20 years now, I've been so impressed at the value the community places on education. It's something I believe in too. It's the greatest vehicle for social mobility we have. It's the greatest vehicle for people changing the circumstances into which they were born, and it's the platform for opportunity. So I think having education and values-based education as a theme is a fantastic idea and something I wholeheartedly support.
How did you celebrate Vaisakhi this year, or celebrating currently?
I celebrate Vaisakhi every year. We had a Nagar Kirtan in my constituency in Southall, where we expected more than 50,000 people. And in the Parliament, this is part of the parliamentary calendar now that we hold the Speaker's House Vaisakhi. Vaisakhi is a message for the humanity, for the unity, equality, and cooperation. And that's why we celebrate it. And I'm glad that the Sikh community in Britain is contributing effectively to make sure that the values of our Gurujis given to us, we take it further. And I congratulate everybody who's celebrating Vaisakhi today, but celebrated 2 weeks ago as well.
Well said. And as you said then, Vaisakhi is for everyone, not just felt by the Sikh community. So our theme this year is looking at good value-based education. So what do you feel like the world can learn from the Sikh kind of perspective of that?
If you look at the message from the holy Gurujis, Guru Nanak Dev Ji's and all the 10th Gurujis, and through Guru Granth Sahib, the message given for promotion of equality for women, no child labor, making sure that everybody is treated equally, one God, one human being. So that is the message, and I'm glad that the Sikh community in Britain taking those values further to make sure that everybody have a better education, better housing, better health services, and better equal opportunities in the society.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm Barry Shearman. I'm the Member of Parliament of Huddersfield, and many of my constituents are here today. I've been very close in all my years, 45 years as a Member of Parliament, very close to the Sikh community in Huddersfield, and I admire the Sikh religion because it is value-based. You know, I've always been impressed, but there are no gods or anything like that. It is value-based, and I love the values of the Sikh religion. Also, I'm retiring at the next election, and my successor, who I think will almost certainly be a new Labour Member of Parliament, is Harpreet Uppal, who's a young Sikh woman who was a very great friend of my daughter's at Greenhead College. So value-based. I chaired the Education Committee for 10 years. Values should be at the heart of everything we do, both in terms of our personal life and our political life. And I believe that it's high time we got back to a value, real values that we cared about. I'm a person of faith. I'm still a lay canon at Wakefield Cathedral, and we have a very good group here, a multi-faith community. We all talk together, we all pray together, and we all share our common beliefs in good values, honour in public life, honour and honesty, and also treating people. People, come into this new job and get lost. And it's our job as more senior people in Parliament to care for them, to say that there are a whole range of good people here with good values and to support them. So that's very important.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਜਸਵੀਰ ਸਿੰਘ ਹੈ ਮੈਂ ਗੁਰੂ ਨਾਨਕ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਲੁਟਨ ਤੋਂ ਆਇਆ ਜੀ
Thank you. ਤੇ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਮਨਾਈ ਸੀ?
ਅਸੀਂ ਲੁਟਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਅਖੰਡ ਪਾਠ ਦਾ ਭੋਗ ਪਾ ਕੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਨੇ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਕੀਤਾ ਸਾਡੀ ਮੋਸਟਲੀ ਜੋ ਅਸੀਂ ਸੋਚ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ ਉਹ ਹੈ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਕਿ ਫਿਊਚਰ ਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦਾ ਮਹੱਤਵ ਕੀ ਹੈ ਇੱਕ ਚੀਜ਼ ਬਹੁਤ ਗਲਤ ਹੈ ਲੋਕ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਪਏ ਆਪਣਾ ਨਵਾਂ ਸਾਲ ਹੈ ਇਹ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੋਚਦੇ ਹੈਗੇ ਇੱਕ ਕਲਚਰ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਔਰ ਦੂਸਰਾ ਇਹ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਹੈ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਗੁਰੂ ਗੋਬਿੰਦ ਸਿੰਘ ਨੇ ਪੰਜ ਪਿਆਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਕਾਇਆ ਸੀ
Welcome. So, if you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and how you've celebrated Vaisakhi so far this year.
Yeah, look, I thoroughly enjoy Vaisakhi. It gives me an opportunity to, mix with all the Sikh community and, really get to know a bit more about my religion. All my life I played cricket and, spun a cricket ball for England and, there's a lot of similarities, in terms of the values that he has as a sportsman and also, as a person who's a Sikh. A lot of people say Sikhism is a form of lifestyle, the way you live your life and the values about, working hard, doing, seva, which is like voluntary work and helping humanity and all of these kind of things, which are very, similar being a sports person as well. So, there's a lot of similarities.
Yeah, no, definitely. I think that's a really nice way of wording it. So, our theme obviously this year is good value-based education. So I suppose what does that mean to you, but also actually in your career, kind of how you've used that as a child and your religion and taken it into your cricket?
Yeah, look, when I played for England, as a cricketer, I think, there's so many values that you need. You need to be a good team man, need patience. 80% of your days are bad days. It's only the sort of, that 1 out of 5 game, you take a fiver and you have a great day. So you got to have a big heart. You've got to have a lot of patience. You got to have discipline. You got to have commitment. You got to have a really good routine, which are very similar sort of values that you need in education. Also, religion that Sikhism itself as well. So there's a lot of these kind of similarities and it just helps you in life as well.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for joining us and I hope you enjoy the rest of the evening.
I'm Professor Ram Dillon. I'm a ear, nose and throat surgeon. I was brought up in Hounslow, West London, full of Sikhs, but I now live in central London and work in central London.
Amazing. And how did you celebrate Vaisakhi this year?
Well, we have friends around. Usually as a medic, you're busy working. It's very difficult to find time to celebrate each and every occasion. I have to say that we probably celebrated Diwali more than we did Vaisakhi. But friends, and also a lot of friends that have emigrated to USA, WhatsApp, wonderful institution, allows you to keep in contact. Yeah.
Absolutely. So the theme for this year is value-based education system. As someone who has been through a value-based education system, how do you think that helps the holistic development of children outside of education to help develop them in life in other areas?
Well, my experience of education in West London, in Hounslow, was that we had wonderful teachers that did not just the maths and the physics and the French and the art and English. We had lots of extracurricular activities that fired your interest. And that was not just cultural, like art. It would be things like learning to typewrite with the old typewriters 50, 60 years ago. But also sport. And it just gave you this rounded education over and above doing what were known as O-levels, GCSE equivalents, or A-levels. And I think I benefited hugely from that environment at school. And the second thing is my father, to a greater extent, and my mother, perhaps to a lesser extent, was very keen that we had a wide breadth education and encourage everything all the time. You know, extracurricular visits to museums at the weekend, taking us to holidays. And I think that rounded sort of childhood really enables you to seek opportunities and enjoy life and spread the cultural aspects that you enjoyed to your own children, but maybe other youngsters around who are prepared to listen.
So I'm Jasmine Cornwell. I'm the Chief Crown Prosecutor for the Crown Prosecution Service for CPS London North.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. Well, yes, I mean, how have you celebrated Vaisakhi so far this month?
Really excited. We've had a number of events with family, friends, communities, and also in the workplace. So always brilliant to be able to kind of celebrate the festival in your workplace as well as within the community. So it's been a good time.
Yeah, and that's definitely what others have said. You know, Vaisakhi is celebrated by so much wider than just the Sikh community, which is really, really lovely. Our theme this year is good value-based education. And so, yeah, we've been asking people, I guess, what does that mean to them in terms of, you know, what does good value education mean to you?
Yeah. So I think it's really important to kind of think about values in education, because when talking about the future generations, whatever age they are, it's not just about academic learning. If it's absolutely based in good values of community, of diversity, of equality, of understanding, of honesty, transparency, and selflessness, and Seva, which is one of the Sikh principles as well. If those values are running through the education system, then I think it will make for much more tolerant groups, much more of a tolerant society. And if we don't teach those kind of values in education, I don't think we'll have an inclusive society.
No, 100%. It's that transferable skill that just stays with you and sets you up. Yeah, I mean, I suppose, what do you kind of hope will come from Vaisakhi being celebrated here? Just the idea that more and more people, I guess, will hear about it.
Well, it's fantastic that the House of Commons and representatives are able to hold the marking of the festival here, which is the centre of democracy, which shows it's inclusive, it shows it's diverse, and we can come here, the kind of heart of all parliaments, to be able to celebrate our festival. I'm a British Sikh. I celebrate many festivals, not just Sikh festivals, and it's fantastic that it's embraced fully by everyone. So it's great to see so many people here, and great to see so many of our MPs who are supporting the festival as well.
Wonderful. Well, enjoy the rest of your evening, and thank you very much for speaking with us. Thanks.
सारी पंजाबी ऑडियंसेस ਲਈ मैं कुछ सवाल पंजाबी ਚ करना ਚਾਹਾਂਗੀ। ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਕੀ ਮਾਇਨੇ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੇ ਕੀ ਮਤਲਬ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ?
ਜੀ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਗੱਲ ਤੇ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬੜਾ ਮਜ਼ਾ ਆਇਆ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੰਟਰਵਿਊ ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਰਿਹਾ ਮੈਂ, ਔਰ ਫਿਰ ਮਜ਼ਾ ਦੂਜਾ ਇਹ ਆਇਆ ਕਿ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਪਰ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗੇ ਆ। तो मैं कोई पिछले 50 साल की विसाखी मना रहे हैं, खुशियां मना रहे हैं, भंगड़े पा रहे हैं, मिठाइयां खा रहे हैं, तो मज़ा ये आ रहा है कि अज स्पीकर के घर विच बैठ के इत्थे जिहड़ा वेस्टमिनिस्टर पैलेस है उहदा दिल है ये, उस दिल विच अज असीं भंगड़े पा रहे हैं, रब नूं याद भी कर रहे हैं, भैणां भरावां नूं मिल रहे हैं, रिश्ते मजबूत कर रहे हैं, तो इस तो चंगी किहड़ी गल है। सो मैनूं बड़ी खुशी है कि असीं जिहड़ी कम्यूनिटी इत्थे रहिंदे आ, इत्थे जिहड़ी साडी इंडिजिनस डाइवर्सिटी है, साडे जिहड़े स्पीकर साहब ने उन्हां ने सब नूं मौका इत्थे देण लगे ने, तो अज विसाखी नूं असीं इत्थे खुशियां मनाने आ पे।
Thank you so much. ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪੁੱਛਿਆ ਗਿਆ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਕੰਸਟੀਚੁਐਂਸੀ ਵਿੱਚ ਕਿੱਦਾਂ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਮਨਾਉਂਦੇ ਹੋ, ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਪੁੱਛਣਾ ਚਾਹਾਂਗੀ, ਸਾਡਾ ਅੱਜ ਥੀਮ ਆ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਬੇਸਡ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ। Outside of the education system, what does a value-based education system mean to you? ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਲਈ ਬਹੁਤ ਕੁਝ ਸਿਖਾਉਂਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ। Outside of ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਕੀ ਮਾਇਨੇ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ? ਅਸੀਂ ਕੀ ਸਿਖਾ ਸਕਦੇ ਹਾਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਬਾਰੇ, ਆਪਣੇ ਵੈਲਿਊਜ਼ ਬਾਰੇ, ਆਪਣੀ ਤਹਿਜ਼ੀਬ ਬਾਰੇ?
जी देखें जी, असन जिहड़ा है बच्चे जिहड़े साडे न, यही साडा फ्यूचर है, इन्हां दी इन्वेस्टमेंट करना ही साडी सब तो चंगी इन्वेस्टमेंट है। तो उन्हां नूं दसना असी कौन आ, साडी तहजीब की है, साडा धर्म की है, ये साडा फर्ज है। तो उस लिहाज नाल विसाखी नूं मनाना, उन्हां नूं एजुकेट करना बहुत जरूरी है, तां जे वो कंफर्टेबल होवन जो उन्हां दी निशानदेही है, जो चीज़ खुद हैं, उन्हां दी जो ਵੈਲਿਊ ਹੈ, ਜੋ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੇ ਮਾਪਿਓ ਹਨ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀ ਕਿ ਧਰਮ ਕੀ ਹੈ, ਇਹਨਾਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਮਜ਼ਬੂਤ ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਇਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਚੀਜ਼ਾਂ ਕਰਨਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਦੂਜੀ ਗੱਲ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦੇ ਨੁਕਤੇ ਨਜ਼ਰ 'ਚ ਮਿਸਰਾ ਮਨਾਉਣੇ ਦਾ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਿਹਾ ਤਾਲੀਮ ਦਾ, ਤਾਲੀਮ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਹੈ ਇਨਸਾਨ ਬੰਦਾ ਬਣਾਉਂਦੀ ਹੈ। ਤਾਂ ਅਗਰ ਤਾਲੀਮ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਨਹੀਂ ਹੈ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਅੱਛੇ ਬੁਰੇ ਦੀ ਤਾਜਵੀਜ਼ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ। ਤੇ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਚ ਨਾਲ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਆਪ ਨੂੰ ਬਿਹਤਰ ਕਰ ਸਕਦੇ ਆ। ਅਗਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਫੇਥ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਕਰਨੇ ਆ ਤਾਂ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਬੁਨਿਆਦੀ ਪੁਆਇੰਟ ਹੈ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਨੀ। ਤਾਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕਰੋਗੇ ਨਾ, ਉਸ ਲਈ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੋਏਗਾ ਕਿ ਚੰਗਾ ਕੀ ਕੰਮ ਹੈ। ਤਾਂ ਸੇਵਾ ਨੂੰ ਸਮਝਣ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਤਾਲੀਮ ਦੀ ਲੋੜ ਹੈ। ਤੇ ਇਸ ਵਾਸਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਣਾ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਡਾ ਥੀਮ ਵੀ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ। ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਵੀ ਬਿਹਤਰ ਹੋਏਗੀ, ਉਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਵੀ ਬਿਹਤਰ ਹੋਣਗੇ, ਇਸ ਮੁਲਕ ਦੀ ਖਿਦਮਤ ਵੀ ਕਰ ਸਕਣਗੇ ਤੇ ਮਾਸ਼ਰੇ ਦੀ ਖਿਦਮਤ ਕਰ ਸਕਣਗੇ। ਸੋ ਇਟਸ great theme, great celebration and great place to celebrate ਕਰਨ ਵਾਸਤੇ।
Thank you so much.
Alison Phillis, Member of Parliament for Glasgow Central.
Wonderful. Well, welcome again. So as we just spoke about, this is your numerous time, my third time seeing you. So yeah, I mean, again, just to echo kind of what does Vaisakhi, I guess, mean to you now you've been to so many of them, and particularly being held in this incredible venue?
It's always such a treat coming to this Vaisakhi event in the Speaker's House. It's sort of one of those points in the year where you go, yep, this is it. And it's so lovely to come here and sort of embrace the warmth of the Sikh community. Everyone has a lovely time, and it's just wonderful to catch up with people that you see sort of year in, year out at these events.
And the Punjabi food.
Of course.
That is on my calendar for the food. Yeah, so the theme this year has been good value-based education. And so we've been kind of asking the attendees, I guess, what that means to them and actually what they feel they've learned from the Sikh community, or whether it's just what it means to them personally.
Yeah, I think it's a really interesting question. And certainly from the Gurdwaras in Glasgow, I know they do a huge amount of work, both in educating Sikh youngsters in their heritage and in language and in religion as well. But they also do so much outreach and bring people into the Gurdwaras from the Glasgow community as well. Because you might, be a Glaswegian, you've never stepped foot inside a Gurdwara, you would want to know what's all that about. But people are made so welcome on all kinds of occasions to come in through the doors, to enjoy langar with the community and to learn more about the Sikh faith. And I think that's always very, very interesting and lovely to see every time I'm in.
Well, welcome back, Jane. Yeah, I mean, how have you been enjoying Vaisakhi so far? Again, it's not your first time in the Speaker's House celebrating Vaisakhi.
I was very proud to co-host last year. I know my colleague Eddie Hughes is co-hosting this evening, but it is lovely. I was at the number 10 Vaisakhi celebrations last week, and it's just wonderful to come to the speakers' rooms. They are some of the most grand built sort of bits of the palace. So no, it's fantastic.
Yeah, and I think I've been to a couple of Gurdwaras now, and they have that same impact. They look different, but the impact of how grand it is and just kind of beautiful. So yeah, it's a very appropriate place for it. So our theme this year has been good value-based education. And so we've been asking the attendees, I guess, what that's meant to them, and actually maybe what they've learned from the Sikh community in terms of value-based education, or just for them, like how important good value-based education is in terms of early education and going forwards.
Yes, no, absolutely. I mean, the Sikh community in Wolverhampton has been involved so widely. I've got two Gurdwaras, and both of them have done such valuable work around education, around mental health, around fitness. They're big on kabaddi. They're big on sort of that whole community support. So I think my mum was a teacher. I did a bit of teaching before I was an MP. So education really crucial to everybody. But I think the bedrock of a religion, whatever religion that is. And I think Sikh religion, the more I learn about it, those values of equality and learning and seva, it's just beautiful. And my whole life I've been around the Sikh community in Wolverhampton, so I can't imagine Wolverhampton without that massive presence.
Well, welcome. And I mean, how have you been enjoying Vaisakhi so far in terms of here, but also just throughout the celebration?
Well, it's wonderful that the Speaker's opened up his house to the Vaisakhi celebration. I'm proud and honoured to represent a large Sikh population in Hounslow, and I have the Gurdwara in Alice Way in my constituency. I think that these celebrations always make us remember the universal values that so many, all of the faiths that are represented in our communities stand for. And I'm so grateful to the Sikh community for everything they do in the community, and particularly their level of service to all who need help and support, both within the Punjabi community, but also those in the wider community, particularly now where the cost of living has thrown so many people on the streets or in a position where they can't afford to feed their families and heat their homes. So thank you so much to the Sikh community, and happy Vaisakhi.
Thank you. No, really well said. And I think, a lot of people will echo your thoughts there. Our theme this year has been good valued-based education. So you spoke so much about values there. So I guess, from your now exposure to such a dominant Sikh community in Hounslow, how have you, or what have you kind of learned in terms of what they teach in terms of good value-based education, and where you either see similarities or where you'd love to see that extend to the wider community?
Well, I mean, my children went to school in the middle of Hounslow, so many of the students in their school were Sikh, and the Sikh community is one of those that, of course, values education, and of course, as you know, it's one of the it's a core tenet of the faith, and it really matters not only good education, taking education seriously, not only matters to Sikhs and to their children, but that impacts on the children they're at school with. So that means overall we have in Hounslow, I think it's a major factor in us having a hard-working, high-achieving cohort of students in our local schools.
Wonderful. Well said. And enjoy your Vaisakhi. And thank you so much for joining.
ਹੈਲੋ ਜੀ, ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਕਿਰਨ ਹੈ। ਮੈਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਵੂਮਨ ਅਲਾਇੰਸ ਦੀ ਕਲਚਰਲ ਸੈਕਟਰੀ ਹਾਂ। ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦੇ ਮੇਲੇ ਤੇ ਆਏ ਹਾਂ। ਸਾਰਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਦੀਆਂ ਬਹੁਤ ਬਹੁਤ ਵਧਾਈਆਂ।
Thank you so much. ਅੱਜ ਦਾ ਥੀਮ ਆ ਵੈਲਿਊ ਬੇਸਡ ਐਜੂਕੇਸ਼ਨ। ਉਹ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲਈ ਕੀ ਮਾਇਨੇ ਰੱਖਦਾ ਹੈ ਸਾਡੇ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਲਈ, ਸਾਡੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਲਈ, ਸਾਡੇ ਤਹਿਜ਼ੀਬ ਲਈ?
ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਮੇਰਾ ਨਾਮ ਇੰਦਰਜੀਤ ਕੌਰ ਪਾਟਿਆ। ਮੈਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਵੂਮਨ ਅਲਾਇੰਸ ਦੀ EC ਮੈਂਬਰ, ਐਗਜ਼ੈਕਟਿਵ ਮੈਂਬਰ। ਮੈਂ ਸਿੰਘ ਸਭਾ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਈਸਟ ਲੰਡਨ ਦੀ ਪੇਜ ਸੈਕਟਰੀ। ਅਸੀਂ ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਨੇ ਕਿ ਅੱਜ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ, ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਕਿ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਜਾਂ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਤਿਉਹਾਰ ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਮਨਾ ਲਓ, ਮਨਾਉਣ ਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਫਾਇਦਾ ਤਾਂ ਹੀ ਹੈ ਜੇਕਰ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਅਮਲ ਕਰਨਾ ਹੈ। ਉਹਦੀਆਂ ਗੱਲਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਜਾਂਦਾ ਹੈ, ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਕਿਉਂ ਮਨਾਈ ਗਈ, ਕਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਮਨਾਈ ਗਈ, 10ਵੇਂ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਨੇ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਜੋ ਕੁਝ ਦੱਸਿਆ ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਦੇ 'ਤੇ ਅਮਲ ਵੀ ਕਰੀਏ, ਆਪਣੀ ਲਾਈਫ ਨੂੰ ਪ੍ਰੈਕਟੀਕਲ ਬਣਾਈਏ। ਹੁਣ ਦੇਖੋ, ਜਿਸ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਗੁਰਦੁਆਰਾ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਸਿੱਖ ਵੂਮਨ ਅਲਾਇੰਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਨਾਲ ਰਲ ਕੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਕੀਰਤਨ ਦਾ 5 ਮਈ ਨੂੰ ਉਪਰਾਲਾ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ, ਅਤੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਛੋਟੇ ਬੱਚੇ ਵੀ ਆ ਕੇ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਮੂਲ ਮੰਤਰ ਪੜ੍ਹਨਗੇ, ਅਤੇ ਹੋਰ ਵੀ ਇਸੇ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਹੀ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੱਗਦਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਜ਼ਿੰਦਗੀ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਅਮਲ ਵਿੱਚ ਲਿਆਈਏ। ਕੋਈ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਤਿਉਹਾਰ ਮਨਾਈਏ ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਬੜੀ ਚੰਗੀ ਤਰ੍ਹਾਂ ਸਮਝੀਏ ਅਤੇ ਅੱਗੋਂ ਵੀ ਉਹਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪੈਰਵੀ ਕਰਦੇ ਜਾਈਏ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ ਜੀ।
ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ। ਤੁਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਕਹਿਣਾ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ?
ਹਾਂਜੀ, ਅੱਛਾ, ਸਾਡੀ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਵਿਮਨਸ ਅਲਾਇੰਸ ਸੰਸਥਾ ਹੈ ਨਾ, ਇਹਨੂੰ ਚੱਲਦੀ ਨੂੰ 23 ਈਅਰਸ ਹੋ ਗਏ, 23 ਸਾਲ ਹੋ ਗਏ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੀ ਕੌਨਸਟੀਟਿਊਸ਼ਨ ਆ, we are there to empower, inspire and educate ਆਪਣੀ ਏਸ਼ੀਅਨ ਲੇਡੀਜ਼ ਨੂੰ। ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਹਰ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਇਕੱਠੀਆਂ ਹੁੰਦੀਆਂ, ਮੀਟ ਐਂਡ ਗ੍ਰੀਟ, ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਮੇਲ ਗੇਲ ਗਰੁੱਪ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਆ। ਅਤੇ ਹਰ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੁਛ ਨਾ ਕੁਛ ਸੈਲੀਬ੍ਰੇਟ ਕਰੀਦਾ। ਇੰਟਰਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਵਿਮਨਸ ਡੇ ਹੋਵੇ, ਨਵਾਂ ਸਾਲ ਹੋਵੇ, ਕ੍ਰਿਸਮਸ ਹੋਵੇ, ਦੀਵਾਲੀ ਹੋਵੇ, ਅਤੇ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਹੋਵੇ। ਪਿਛਲੇ ਮਹੀਨੇ ਹੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਮਨਾਈ ਹੈ। ਅਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੋਚ ਟ੍ਰਿਪਸ ਵੀ ਲੈ ਕੇ ਜਾਂਦੀਆਂ, ਅਤੇ ਬੀਬੀਆਂ ਸਾਡੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਈਸੋਲੇਸ਼ਨ, ਡਿਪਰੈਸ਼ਨ 'ਚੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਰੱਖਦੀਆਂ, ਅਤੇ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਆਪਣੇ ਸੰਸਕਾਰ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਦੱਸਦੀਆਂ। ਜਿਹੜੀ ਓਲਡ ਟ੍ਰੈਡੀਸ਼ਨਲ ਗਿੱਧਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸੀ ਨਾ ਪਿੰਡਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ, ਅਸੀਂ ਉਹਨੂੰ ਰਿਵਾਈਵ ਕੀਤਾ। ਵੀ ਵਰ ਦ ਫਸਟ ਵਨਸ ਹੂ ਰਿਵਾਈਵਡ ਇਟ ਹੇਅਰ ਇਨ UK। ਅਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਸਾਰੇ ਪਾਸੇ ਤੀਆਂ ਦਾ ਮੇਲਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਸਾਡੇ, ਜਿੱਦਾਂ ਅਸੀਂ ਕਰਦੇ ਉਹ ਸਾਰੇ ਹੁਣ ਕਰਦੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਵੀ ਸਟਾਰਟਡ 23 ਈਅਰਸ ਗੋ, ਬਟ ਆਮ ਸੋ ਗਲੈਡ ਕਿ ਹੁਣ ਗਾਂ ਇਹ ਚੱਲਣ ਲੱਗ ਪਿਆ ਸਾਰਾ ਕੁਛ। ਸੋ ਦੈਟਸ ਆਵਰ ਪਰਪਸ ਇਨ ਲਾਈਫ। ਥੈਂਕ ਯੂ।
हेलो जी, मेरा नाम रजिंदर कौर जौहर, मैं सिख अलायंस की वाइस चेयर हाँ। जिद्दां बलविंदर हुणी दस्सिया, असीं जदों ग्रुप शुरू किया असीं सोचते सी सानूं अपॉर्चुनिटी लाइफ च मिलियां, बहुत सारी लेडीज़ इन्हां नूं नहीं मिलियां ते असीं कोशिश साडी यही 22-23 साल रही आ कि असीं बाकियां नूं भी कॉन्फिडेंस दईए, उन्हां नूं पुश करिए कि ताकि वो अपनी लाइफ चंगी तरह रह सकन, ये नहीं भी दूसरियां लई सिर्फ रहन। सो बहुत बारी साडे इंटरनेशनल वूमेंस डे आ, असीं जिहड़ियां भी सानूं सिख वूमन कोई ऑफ सबसटेंस उन्हां नूं वोट दिंदे आ। जे कोई अपनी यंग लेडी जिहदा सानूं पता लगे भी उन्हें चंगा नौकरी चंगी कर रही आ, काफ़ी अगे वध रही आ, असीं उन्हां नूं एक्नॉलेज करते हैं। तो जे कोई लेडी इवें होवे भी वो थोड़ी जी किसी इशू च होवे, वो कई बारी साडे को आके हैल्प मंगते आ, असीं उन्हां नूं दस दिंदे आ। असीं आप तां नहीं उहदे च कई बारी मामले च नहीं होना चाहुंदे, पर उन्हां नूं असीं हैल्प कर दिंदे आ भी तुसीं कित्थे जाके चल जाओ, क्योंकि असीं दोने जणियां मैजिस्ट्रेट आ। सो कोर्ट्स बारे भी सानूं काफ़ी पता, हुण तां रिटायर हो गए आ, पर रियली जस्ट सपोर्टिंग आवर कम्यूनिटी so that they can take active part rather than just be there waiting for somebody else to do something for them. We want them to live their life to full. And जिद्दां पहलां पंजाबी देश च है ना बैसाखी मनाई दी सी, बोलियां पा पा के, गिद्धा पा पा के, एक दूसरे नूं मेहने दे के, ताने दे के, सोहने तो सोहने सूट पा के असीं बैसाखी मनाई दी है। इधर रिलीजियस पार्ट है, इधर नच्चन टप्पन दा पार्ट है।
And the main aim साडी organisation दा है कि love your daughters just as much as you love your sons, and don't discriminate against the girl child, and don't do female infanticide. So this is the meaning behind our group, main purpose.
And also for the elder men, the message is ਧੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਹੈਲਪ ਕਰਨੀ ਆ, ਪੁੱਤਾਂ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਜ਼ਮੀਨਾਂ ਵੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣਾ ਜਾਂ ਪੈਸੇ ਵੱਲ ਨੂੰ ਦੇਖਣਾ। ਸੋ ਬਰਾਬਰ ਰੱਖੋ ਧੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਓਕੇ, ਪਿੱਛੇ ਨਾ ਸਿੱਟੋ।
My name is George Galloway, Member of Parliament for the Rochdale constituency, and I'm very, very happy to be here. Vaisakhi greetings to everyone.
Well, thank you. So, your first time in Speaker's House celebrating Vaisakhi, is it?
It is, because I've been out of the House for a little while and I've made a triumphant return. But I do love this House. In fact, it's almost beautiful enough to make me run to be Speaker, but that's another matter. It's wonderful that the Sikh community have got this venue. There are many venues in this building of lesser value, but the Sikh community's value is reflected in the fact that they're here in the Speaker's House. There's no community in Britain more valued, I think, and across the whole community. I've got to put it this way, everybody loves the Sikhs, and so they should.
Sam Tarry, Member of Parliament for Ilford South.
Wonderful. Well, welcome. So, is this your first Vaisakhi in the House of Commons?
It's the first one actually here in the House of Commons. I couldn't make it last year, unfortunately, but it's definitely not my first Vaisakhi. In Ilford, as many of your viewers will know, we have one of the biggest Sikh communities in the whole of the UK. Maybe not quite as big as Southall, but still pretty big. We have SIKH CHANNEL, London East, and we actually have one of a few Sikh secondary schools, Atam Academy. So the Sikh community are very much part of my life on a day-to-day basis. So to actually welcome some of the women that are here from the local Gurdwara and to meet a few familiar faces from Ilford has been a real pleasure.
Oh, wonderful. It's nice to have it east and west of London to stretch across. But so our theme this year has been good value-based education. So you mentioned the primary school there. So I suppose, to you personally, but also what you've seen from the Sikh community, what does good value-based education look like, and what have you kind of learned from their community as well?
So, the Sikh faith is very clear about people's obligations to the wider community and not just to yourself. And I think with Atam Academy, that's certainly something that they do in terms of their approach to education, the outreach into the wider community. So it's not just a school for Sikhs only. Actually, it's part of a wider, very diverse community of many different faiths and backgrounds. And I think what I've seen, on a sort of day-to-day basis through many of the things that, the Sikh community do through our kind of, number of our local gurdwaras, the outreach work, the selflessness, these are all important things. And actually, parts of Ilford are some of the poorest in East London, and yet our schools do attain pretty high levels. We send people to good universities. We have a number of schools that are Ofsted outstanding. And that's actually part of the values of our community, and particularly the Sikh community. We really say to our young people, education's so key. And actually, if you get a good education, it can open so many doors. Remember in Ilford, we're now like third, if not fourth or fifth generation of the Sikh community, people that have grandparents now came to the country in the 50s and 60s. And so actually, they're a fully integrated part of wider British society, but make a massive impact, really, considering the size of the community.
Yeah, excellently said. And I'm sure they will really appreciate kind of your words there, because, it's definitely hit the nail on the head. Continue this fantastic celebration this evening and hopefully throughout the rest of the celebration. But thank you so much for joining.
Manika is Tanmanjeet Singh Desi, the Member of Parliament for Slough.
Thank you so much. How did you celebrate Vaisakhi this year?
Well, celebrated with family. I think this is an important time for us, but it's also a time that we commemorate the establishment of the Khalsa. It's a Khalsa Sajna Divs. I know that within the Punjab and other parts of India, it's celebrated as a spring harvest festival, but for the Sikhs, it has a huge significance because in 1699, the 10th Sikh Guru Gobind Singh Ji instituted the Khalsa, an order, and as has been noted, Pragateo Mard Agamada, Baryam Akela, Vaho Vaho Gobind Singh, Ape Gurchela. The beauty of the Khalsa is that anybody can become a member of the Guru's Khalsa, regardless of gender, regardless of background, of social status. And that, I think, is something to be celebrated. But not only did the Guru bestow the ambrosial nectar onto the Panj Pyare, the five beloved ones, but he also took that himself. And as he also noted very eloquently, Khalsa mero roop hai khas, Khalse mein ho karo nivas. That the Khalsa is my special form, and that is where I reside. So I think it's important that while we celebrate Vaisakhi, and it's wonderful to see Manika, yourself and the SIKH Channel team here in the UK Parliament, in the Speaker Staterooms, that we also reflect upon the religious significance of Vaisakhi.
Thank you so much. So which values about Vaisakhi from Sikhi are most important to you?
I think one is about equality, and that is something that, whether it's equality and social justice, those are very important to me. And I know that when the Guru instituted the Khalsa, that it was not just to stand up for your rights, but also the rights of others. I think that is where the Sikh community has been exemplary on occasion after occasion. And also, if we look at the fact as to how we conduct ourselves in terms of seva, sarbat da pala, that is beautiful. So working for the betterment of all, regardless of background or gender or color or creed, and Sikh organizations, whether it's the Gurdwaras, whether it is voluntary organizations. I've just had today an event with Khalsa Aid as well. They also do amazing work. They had their event here. They are based in my Slough constituency, so I'm very, very fortunate to have them, along with other voluntary organizations who do work not just for the Sikh community, but for across the globe, and very, very well done to them.
And how could a value such as equality be implemented in a value-based education system and help the betterment of children, of university students, and help them to develop as holistic, well-rounded individuals?
Education is incredibly important, and the theme of today's Vaisakhi event here in Parliament is values-based education. And I think that various speakers have highlighted that. And look, we all know the importance that Sikh families, Sikh parents place on education in terms of their children. And very, very well done to them. Because of that, according to the last census, the second highest in terms of graduates of any community within Britain are the Sikh community. I think that is brilliant. But as the Guru himself eloquently explains to us, ki vidya vichari tam par upakari. It's not important just to have education, but it's how you use that
to improve the lives of others. So ਪਰਉਪਕਾਰੀ ਹੋਣਾ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ। ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਦੇ ਜਿੰਨੇ ਵੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਦਰਸ਼ਕ ਨੇ, ਮੈਂ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਇਹੀ ਬੇਨਤੀ ਕਰਦਾ ਕਿ ਵਿਸਾਖੀ ਵੇਲੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਆਪਣੇ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਆਪਾਂ ਅਗਲੀ ਪੀੜ੍ਹੀ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਜੋ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਕਦਰਾਂ ਕੀਮਤਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਨਾ ਹੈ, ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਆ। ਮੇਰੇ ਪਾਤਸ਼ਾਹ ਇਹੀ ਆਪਣੇ ਤੋਂ ਚਾਹੋਗੇ। ਤਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਸਿੱਖ ਚੈਨਲ ਬਲ ਸਾਹਿਬ ਤੋਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਤਮਾਮ ਟੀਮ ਨੂੰ ਮੈਂ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਵਧਾਈ ਦੇਣਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਕਿ ਜਿਸ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਮਸਲੇ ਨੇ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਪੰਥਕ ਮਸਲਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਬਾਰੇ ਜੋ ਜਾਗਰਤੀ ਪੈਦਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ ਜੋ ਬਰਤਾਨਵੀ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਅਤੇ ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਸਮਝਦਾ ਕਿ ਇਹ ਬਹੁਤ ਜ਼ਰੂਰੀ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਲੋਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਸੋਚ ਬਦਲਦੇ ਹੋ, ਲੋਕਾਂ ਨੂੰ ਸਿੱਖੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਦੇ ਹੋ, ਗੁਰਬਾਣੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋੜਦੇ ਹੋ। ਤੇ ਅੱਜ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਜੀ ਆਇਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਤੁਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ UK ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਆਏ ਹੋ, ਤੇ ਮੈਂ ਪ੍ਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਅੱਗੇ ਆਸ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਕਰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਉਹ ਜੋ ਹੋਰ ਬਲ ਉਦਮ ਬਖਸ਼ਣ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਹੋਰ ਹੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਜਿਹੜੀ ਕੌਮ ਦੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਇਹਦੇ ਨਿਭਾਈ ਜਾਓ। ਜਿਸ ਤੱਕ ਇਸ ਨਾਚੀਜ਼ ਦੀ ਗੱਲ ਆ, ਦੇਖੋ ਇੱਥੇ ਆ ਕੇ ਸਿਰਫ ਅਸੀਂ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਸਿਫਤਾਂ ਨਹੀਂ ਕਰਨੀਆਂ, ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਜਿਹੜੇ ਮਸਲੇ ਆ ਉਹ ਵੀ ਉਠਾਉਣੇ ਆ। ਸੋ ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ ਹੋਣ, ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਪੰਜਾਬ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਪੰਜਾਬੀ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਸੰਬੰਧਿਤ ਹੋਣ, ਉਹ ਵੀ ਮੈਂ ਸਮੇਂ-ਸਮੇਂ ਤੋਂ ਇਹ ਨਾਚੀਜ਼ ਇੱਥੇ ਉਠਾਉਂਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਹੈ। ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਕਿਸਾਨ ਮੋਰਚੇ ਵੇਲੇ ਵੀ ਐਨ ਦ੍ਰਿੜ ਇਰਾਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਐਨ ਗਰਜਦਾ ਰਿਹਾ ਇੱਥੇ ਅਲੱਗ-ਅਲੱਗ ਵਿਅਕਤੀਆਂ ਨੂੰ, ਚਾਹੇ ਉਹ ਸਰਕਾਰ ਨੂੰ ਵੀ ਜਵਾਬਦੇਹ ਬਣਾਉਣਾ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੇ ਆਪਾਂ ਦੇਖੀਏ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਹੇਟ ਕ੍ਰਾਈਮ ਆ, ਜੋ ਨਸਲੀ ਵਿਤਕਰਾ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਹੁੰਦਾ ਆ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ, ਉਚੇਚੇ ਤੌਰ 'ਤੇ ਸਿੱਖ ਬੱਚਿਆਂ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਬੁਲੀਇੰਗ ਜੋ ਕਈ ਦਫਾ ਸਕੂਲਾਂ 'ਚ ਹੁੰਦੀ ਆ, ਉਹਦਾ ਟਾਕਰਾ ਕਰਨ ਲਈ ਵੀ ਅਸੀਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਜੋ ਮੀਟਿੰਗ, ਜੋ ਬੈਠਕਾਂ ਕੀਤੀਆਂ। ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਮੈਂ ਇਹ ਵੀ ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਜ਼ਿਕਰ ਕਰਨਾ ਚਾਹੁੰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਕਿ ਕੁਝ ਸਮੇਂ ਪਹਿਲਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਪਾਰਲੀਮੈਂਟ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਇੱਕ ਅਰਲੀ ਡੇ ਮੋਸ਼ਨ ਇਸ ਨਾਲ ਚੀਜ਼ ਵੱਲੋਂ ਪਾਈ ਗਈ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਕ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਿੱਖ ਵੋਰ ਮੈਮੋਰੀਅਲ, ਸੋ ਇੱਕ ਰਾਸ਼ਟਰੀ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਮਾਰਕ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਥਾਪਿਤ ਕਰਨਾ ਆ ਸੈਂਟਰਲ ਲੰਡਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ, ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਜੋ ਉਹ ਸਿੱਖ ਸੂਰਵੀਰਾਂ ਦੀ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦਾ ਯੋਗਦਾਨ ਆ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਦੀਆਂ ਲਾਸਾਨੀ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀਆਂ, tens of thousands died, 1 ਲੱਖ ਤੋਂ ਵੱਧ ਜ਼ਖਮੀ ਹੋਏ ਸੀ, ਉਹਨਾਂ ਸਿੱਖਾਂ ਦੀ ਕੁਰਬਾਨੀ ਨੂੰ ਚੇਤੇ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋਏ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਇੱਕ ਸਿੱਖ ਸਮਾਰਕ ਜਿਹੜਾ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਿੱਖ ਮੈਮੋਰੀਅਲ, ਵੀ ਵਿਲ ਬੀ ਇੰਸਟੀਟਿਊਟ ਦਾ ਐਂਡ ਵਰਕਿੰਗ ਵਿਦ ਦ ਨੈਸ਼ਨਲ ਸਿੱਖ ਮੈਮੋਰੀਅਲ ਟਰਸਟ, ਜਿਹੜੇ ਸਾਡੇ ਟਰਸਟੀਜ਼ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਕਿ ਜਲਦ ਤੋਂ ਜਲਦ ਆਪਾਂ ਇੱਥੇ ਸੈਂਟਰਲ ਲੰਡਨ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਉਹ ਇੱਕ ਵਰਲਡ ਕਲਾਸ memorial of turban Sikh soldiers that will be instituted in Westminster. These are some of the things ਜਿਹਤੇ ਅਸੀਂ ਕੰਮ ਕਰ ਰਹੇ ਹਾਂ। ਪਰਮਾਤਮਾ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਸਮੱਤ ਬਲ ਬੁੱਧੀ ਬਖਸ਼ਣ ਤਾਂ ਕਿ ਅਸੀਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਰਹੋ। ਤਾਂ ਜੇ ਕੋਈ ਮੇਰੇ ਤੋਂ ਕੋਈ ਗਲਤੀ ਹੋ ਗਈ ਹੋਵੇ ਪਿਛਲੇ 7 ਸਾਲਾਂ ਦੇ ਵਿੱਚ ਤੁਹਾਡੀ ਸੇਵਾ ਕਰਦੇ ਹੋ, ਇਹ ਦੋਨੇ ਹੱਥ ਜੋੜ ਕੇ ਮਾਫੀ ਮੰਗਦਾ। ਪਰ ਮੈਂ ਕੋਸ਼ਿਸ਼ ਕਰਾਂਗਾ ਕਿ ਅਗਾਂਹ ਤੋਂ ਵਧੀਆ ਤਰੀਕੇ ਨਾਲ, ਨਾ ਸਿਰਫ ਸਲੋ ਹਲਕਾ ਨਿਵਾਸੀਆਂ, ਮੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਮੰਨ ਗਿਆ ਜੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਵੀ ਇੱਥੇ ਸਲੋ ਤੋਂ ਆਏ ਹੋ, ਤੁਹਾਨੂੰ ਸਲੋ ਹਲਕਾ ਨਿਵਾਸੀਆਂ ਨੇ ਤਾਂ ਇਹ ਬੰਦੇ ਨੂੰ ਇੱਥੇ ਚੁਣ ਕੇ ਭੇਜਿਆ ਜਿੱਥੇ ਤੱਕ ਸਲੋ ਦੇ ਮਸਲੇ ਉਠਾਉਣੇ ਆ, ਇਸ ਦੇ ਨਾਲ ਜੋ ਸਰਬੱਤ ਦੇ ਭਲੇ ਦੇ ਲਈ ਮਸਲੇ ਵੀ ਉਠਾਉਣੇ ਨੇ।
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Thank you. Vaiguru ji ka khalsa, Vaiguru ji ki fateh.
Vaiguru ji ka khalsa, Vaiguru ji ki fateh. I am Preet Kaur Gill, Member of Parliament for Birmingham Edgbaston.
Thank you so much. And how did you celebrate Vaisakhi this year?
Well, I went to my local Gurdwara like I do, Guru Nanak Gurdwara Smithwick. I was at the Vaisakhi Mela this Sunday, and today I'm here in the Speaker's House celebrating Vaisakhi with so much of our community members, and of course the Right Honourable Pat McFadden and Eddie Hughes, who have co-hosted today.
And is this your first time or have you been before?
I've been privileged. I've been an MP now for 7 years and I've been coming to this event and it's been growing, but it's wonderful to see that Mr. Speaker sees the Houses of Parliament as your Parliament. It's the Sikh community's Parliament. Today is extra special actually. We had Baba Jeet Singh Nirmal Kutiya Jola here today, grace us with his presence, and so that's been absolutely wonderful to see the energy, and he reminded us of the importance of not just Naam Simran, of making sure when we do Ardas, we ask for Sarbat Tapala.
Thank you. And the theme today is values-based education. What does that mean to you, and how could we implement it outside of the schooling system by parents, caregivers, and part of the wider community?
I think it's a really important question. My father, the late Sardar Gurjeet Singh Shergill, when he came to from India to Birmingham as a young boy in the 1950s, the one thing he always regretted was not being able to finish his education back in Punjab, because when they went to school, he'd have to come back and do kheti bari. So when he came here, one thing he always said to us was education, education, education. It will be a life changer. So in our house, there was back in the days, there wasn't so many TV channels. I remember when my dad used to come in, we'd quickly grab a book and sit down, and he'd get us to read even the dictionary.
I'm really lucky that I was brought up with that hard work ethic, those values of, being principled, of justice, of what we are celebrating today on Vaisakhi is really important. Equally, both of my daughters went to Nishgam Primary School, and that value-based, education is so important because that grounding, that sense of identity and understanding why forgiveness, compassion, humility, is so important, is invaluable. I wish that is the principle of education in the United Kingdom. That should really be the ethos of it.
So you talked about certain values that are important to you. Is there anything else that you think we gain from Sikhi, we gain from the wider community, or anything in particular that strikes a chord in you?
I think given we look around the world and the conflict everywhere and people are suffering, I think the fact that we have an ardas which asks for the betterment of all, Nanak Naam Jardi Kala Tere Pane Sarvata Pala, is just a wonderful thing. As a Sikh woman who is of faith and values her faith, one thing I do love about the House of Commons is we start every day with prayer. Even though it's a Christian prayer, for me that is a moment that I can partake and be part of. And it just reminds me of my Sikhi values of how we respect all faiths. And no faith. And so that's an integral part of who I am. It helps support the work I do, the challenges I face. Actually, without Sikhi values, without being able to do Bart, I wouldn't have the resilience and the sense of, strength to continue sometimes the role that I'm doing.
Thank you. And for those who do not have a faith, what values-based education, either in school or at home, what advice would you give to them, and how could they encompass that to become holistic beings?
I think, look, all parents want their children to be good. They want them to be honest. They want them to show kindness and forgiveness and be compassionate. Of course, not all parents have those tools to their disposal. And so learning from faiths for people with no faith is really important. Learning from different sort of humanistic or Nolan principles. Nolan principles are guided by what we as parliamentarians, how we should be behaving here, our conduct, what the country expects from us in terms of our integrity and upholding democracy. These are principles that we can all, these are British values. They're not just Sikh values, they're values that we all can share and be part of. And many of our communities of no faith already evidence some of those values.
Thank you so much. Thank you.